Hi guys, so I'll be working on some solutions on the um, Java past question and also be explaining um, some of the questions and implementation to us. So you can actually follow along. So by grabbing the past question for 2019-2020, and after this I'll be probably be working on the assignment that was given to us as well. But one thing I would recommend is for you to have a good understanding of the fundamentals of Java. So I shared this link the other time. Just like go through from Java Home, interact with some of these exercises. So it will be very beneficial. So because this course is not something you can actually cram. So like how many codes, how many implementation do you want to cram? But if you understand the basics, you'll be able um, to deal with the majority of these questions. These are just something you can go through within 50 minutes or 1 hour, and then you can go through methods and a bit of OOP and classes. So yeah, so I'll be starting with this question that asks us to write a program that computes the sum of two matrices A and B and displays the result on the screen. So basically what we need to do, like first thing you need to understand is the matrix is just like a declaration of multiple arrays. Like if you want to have this array, like normal array in Java, we have something like this. So when an array like this is being stacked, like if you have multiple of these, that would result in this matrix. So there is no way you can create something of this visual representation in Java or in any programming language, but you can actually make the representation of multiple arrays, and that's basically what we need to do. So if you are declaring a single array like this, so this is how we declare it. But if you have multiple arrays, same way we say multidimensional array in CSE 302, so we want to have multiple arrays. That would be an array being a parent to multiple arrays. So this is basically what it means. So what I'm saying is I need an array that has rows and has columns. Do you understand? So if you want to create that visual representation, what you basically need to do is this. So this is how you visually represent that an array is stacked. That is, it has rows and columns. That's basically it. So it's not something complex. So it's basically stacking arrays on each other. So let's get to the business. I'll just copy the two matrices arrays and clear this up. So as you can see, I have two array. So the first one is the matrix A and the second one is matrix B. As you can see, they are basically array containing arrays. So that's called multidimensional arrays. So what we are asked to do is to sum the content, the element. So basically we need to, the same way we do in MTS and all that, where we say if you can even recall from these statistics we did, so we say linear programming. So we say subject to A of ij or aij xj plus aij xj and all that. So that I is actually representing the row. So we'll be actually using the illustration as well. Same way we say aij. So that's basically it. So we say where I is the row and the j is a column. So if you understand this, it will be very good. So I is the row and j is a column. So we are basically saying we can access by I, which is the row, and we can access by what? By j, which is the column. So we need to find ways to be able to access these individual rows, and also for each row we should be able to access each column. So with that, so I would like to create a method outside the main method. So it will be a static method, and by default I will not be returning anything, that is void, and the name of the method will be add two matrices. It could be anything. So, and since we are expecting two multi-dimensional arrays, don't forget that this is the declaration. This is saying I need an array that has row and has column and will contain integers, and we can also name it matrix A and another one to say matrix B. So we're actually declaring the type and also the parameter name, which is the argument name. So we're expecting matrix A and matrix B. So I want to say, since we are given two matrices of the same length and the same column, so it's basically simple. So I can say, sorry, I want to write const. I can say the row length is equal to, you can pick any matrix and then access the length property, and I can say the column length as well is matrix A, and then let's pick the first. So the way we access arrays is by indexing. So I want to index the first element of matrix A and say the length of that array. You know, this is an array which is a child of this parent array. So I want to get the length of this, which is 1 2 3 4 5. So that will be the column, and that's basically the number of columns we have. So the number of rows is the number of these elements. So once we've gotten that, another thing we want to do, so let me basically just invoke this method by passing in matrix A and matrix B. So we can print out the row length and the column length to have an understanding of what is going on. So you can see that the row length 1 2 3 4 and the column length is what 1 2 3 4 5. So that's just to have an understanding of what is going on. So for each matrix, so we need to do a for loop to be able to access each row based on the number of the value of the current index. So we say int I, so I will be the row as I explained here. I is equal to row, j is equal to column. You can use any letter or any character you like, but it's just a it's just conventional to just use I, while I is less than the row length. So I want to increment I after each operation. So at this point, let's see what the indexing is doing. So we want to access the matrix A of that particular index. So you'll see something now. So you see that instead of printing out the values of this array, it's actually printing out the memory location. So that's how Java behaves. So to be able to print out the content, we need to say arrays. Arrays is a class that belongs to Java language itself, to string, and then we pass in the array. So we can now see the content. So you need to take note of that. So if you are printing out the value of array, which is just like a normal array, so you use arrays.toString. So as you can see, I'm printing out each row. We can do the same for matrix B. So let me just add this to create like a barrier. So we can do the same for matrix B. So this should actually be after. So matrix A, matrix B, matrix A, matrix B, matrix A, matrix B, matrix A, matrix B. So that's basically how indexing work. So we are going through more like tree transversal, where you go through each level of the tree. We are basically going through each level of the array. So what we now need to do is say we've been able to access each array, each child array. So we need to be able to loop through each element in that array as well. So that's why we now need to say, okay, we've been able to access the row, so we need to access column as well. So ij, don't forget. So here we'll be using the column length and then incrementing the index for the column. So same way we do for this, we can basically now access the column as well. Don't forget matrix I and J. So here we are saying the row and then access individual column. So right now you see, so because we are no longer printing out the array, we're actually printing out the content. So this is no longer needed. So you'll be able to see the individual element. So this is basically how indexing work. Same way we do aij and all that on while writing MTS. So now we need to say we need a result of our matrix. We are asked to display the result on the screen, and the result will actually come out in this same format of multidimensional array. So I will say a multidimensional array that will contain the result is equal to a new integer. So what I'm doing here is to say this result I'm creating would be a multidimensional array as well. I mentioned that the first array will be row and the second array will be column. So I can basically set the fixed length of my result to say it will have the row length of the same length of matrix A, and we'll also have the column length of the same column length of matrix A. So if I am to do a log of this, so remember we need to do arrays dot, because this is a multidimensional array, so there's another method called deep to string. So for normal array you use dot to string. For multidimensional arrays you use deep to string. So you can see it has set a default values for my row and column, which is 0 0 0. So you can call this unit matrix. Is it unit matrix or null matrix? So null matrices. So this is basically the implementation of what you are learning and the program side of it. So we are basically setting a default value of like null matrix to hold the result. So we are looping by row and we're also looping each row by column. So I need to say result of the row I column J is equal to matrix A row I row J plus matrix B row I column J. So that will just basically be setting the respective column of the results array by the sum of that same index from matrix A and matrix B, which is the summation. So I'm going to print out the result again, and you will see that it has actually computed this sum. So we now need to find a way to return this back to our main method. So I will be declaring a variable here, which is also a multidimensional array. So we say sum result is equal to whatever we need to return from this method. So you remember I added void initially, so I'll be changing the type to multidimensional array because I need to return the result instead of just printing it out. So I need to return the result. So the result sorry will be returned to this, and from here we can now do a print of this. So it's basically the same thing, as you can see. So if you want it to be stacked on each other, we need to do another for loop. So just to give you the visual representation, remember you need to be able to differentiate when you are printing out the multidimensional array and when you are printing out a single array. So for a single array, we would access it by k. So this should be print new line. This should be print new line. So sorry, it should be outside. So this is printing out the general result, and this is printing out the stacked, if you want to see how it is stacked on each other. So that's basically what they asked us to do. So once you understand how matrix work and the need to perform loop on the child and also the grandchild children, so that's all you basically need. So that's it. If you have any question, just let me know, and I will be glad to provide answers. So thank you.